Good afternoon, everyone. It's 5:30, and we will begin our meeting this evening. The first thing we'll do is start with a call to order. We did that, and now our pledge. So everyone, please rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have a full house tonight, obviously, so we'll try to keep everything in order and go through and give everyone their opportunity. Before we start roll call, we have a new member, and I'd like to introduce Nathan Shaw. Nathan, anything you want to say to the group? Aye. Okay. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you a part of it. And Renee, are you going to do roll call?
Yes, sir. Hello, for the record, Renee Manita, County Lands. Karen Andrus. Present. Carl Baracco.
Present.
Derek Botana.
Here.
Joseph Cruz.
Here.
Christy Knight. Here. Matthew Lincolnhall. Here. John Paul.
Here.
Nathan Shaw.
Present.
Shane Spring.
Here.
Bridget Thoreau. Here. 10 is a quorum. And for the record, Reggie Henderson, Ronald Inge, Christopher Robin, Sawyer Smith, and Andrew Sund are absent. That's a quorum.
Thank you. Our first order of business are the minutes. Did everyone review the minutes? And could we have a motion?
Look forward to motion.
Motion to approve. Second?
I'll second.
And a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Can you state who made the motion and second, please?
Joseph Cruz.
And Bridget Terrio, second.
And so we have a large crowd tonight, so if you make a motion or a second, please state your name so that we can keep moving. Okay, so motion is second. Did we get that vote? Let's do that again. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you. We will go into the staff negotiated purchase agreements. And Robert, are you going to take us through those?
We were going to address.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. One point of order. We have with us Commissioner Rain's assistant, Pam Smith, and as a courtesy, we're going to give her an opportunity to speak on behalf of the commissioner so that she doesn't have to go through, because I imagine we're going to be here more than 5 or 10 minutes tonight. So, Pam, would you like to speak, please? Yes, please.
Thank you very much for taking me out of order. It has been a long day, and I'm very thankful that we have so many people here that are interested in the subject. So I am Pamela Smith, Commissioner Ruwane's assistant. I was the city clerk on Sanibel for 21 years, if any of you might recognize me. So I just thought I'd give you a little interesting history. So this is what Chairman Ruwane says. As a former mayor of Sanibel for more than 10 years and a Beachview homeowner for over 14 years, I am more than aware of the desire to have a golf club on the island. The investor group must negotiate with the lenders directly and resolve the bank note maturing this month. This offer isn't paying all the debts that they have indicated, as they are over $1 million short. The Sanibel Island Golf Club has been on the market for several years. Sanibel Captiva Bank has been working with the club for over 2 years. Unfortunately, because the bank needs to move forward with the loans governed by the FDIC, they have a fiduciary obligation to proceed to find a resolution as soon as possible, as was agreed upon by both parties. Furthermore, Sanibel Island Golf Club owners have a right to dispose of their property for 2020 conservation or to any other investor group so that they can resolve their contractual obligation amicably and satisfactory for those and the bank. We cannot interfere with their liberties. Finally, I would like to suggest that you strongly encourage the investor group to exercise and finalize their purchase price. The bank is required to pursue all avenues, and it is their responsibility to follow federal guidelines. I do not believe that the owners should have to file personal bankruptcy or that Sanibel Captiva Bank should ensure a final discount, as this bank has donated more than $1 million since Hurricane Ian and are a great community bank. 2020 is a great place for 155 acres for the county, where 2/3 of Sanibel Island is preserved as conservation and will protect the grounds from becoming weeds and property values that will really decrease. Thank you very much, and I appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you, and would you please thank the Commissioner for sharing his thoughts with us?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Okay, so now we'll go into the negotiated purchase agreements, and we have 1, 2, 3, and Robert's going to go over those individually, but I want to make sure everyone knows when we vote on each one of those, if you vote in a negative manner, you should give a reason on the record why you voted that way. So with that, Robert, would you do A?
Yes, thank you. Nomination 635 is a crew parcel. It's 2.5 acres, scored 79 points. We have it under contract at the appraised value of $4,250. The county will be paying closing costs, and staff recommends to go forward with this acquisition.
Okay, before we go to public comment on this item, does anyone have any specific questions?
I just wanted to say, being on here 12 years, we've always had an agreement that we would buy all the crew properties.
Thank you. Any other questions before we go to the public? Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? Thank you. We have at least one person.
For the record, Barbara Manzo, Eyes on Conservation 2020. We agree fully with this purchase. As Karen stated, adding to the crew property is critical, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, we'll bring it back to the committee. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, would someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to put this forward.
And for the record, name?
Karen Andrews.
Joseph Cruz, I second.
Thank you. Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And are there any negatives? That passes unanimously. Thank you. Robert, you're up again.
Nomination 645 is also a crew parcel. It's 5 acres, and this is a donation property. The county has agreed to pay the closing cost and any ancillary cost associated with this donation, and staff recommends to go forward with this acquisition.
Thank you. Any questions? No questions? Are there any members of the public who would like to speak on this item? We have one.
Once again, Barbara Manzo, Eyes on 2020, and we are fully in favor of this purchase as stated for the prior purchase. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come back to the committee. Any discussion? A motion?
I'd like to make a motion to forward this.
Second. John
We
Paul.
have the names. Renee?
Karen Andrews.
John Paul, second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That one passed unanimously. Okay, nomination 650. Before I ask Robert to go through that, I want to put on the record that I have a conflict, so I'll work us through it, but I will not be voting. Robert?
Nomination 650 is about a 130-acre tract in Buckingham. Staff recommends to go forward with this acquisition. It has many positive characteristics, scored 64 points, has water attributes, it has upland attributes, and overall ties into a system from Orange River, following power lines to other county properties that go all the way to State Road 82 and into the 6 Mile Cypress Preserve. Being this property had these characteristics and is of high quality for these conservation purposes, you can see the wetland areas and the upland areas. Staff has negotiated a purchase price of $10,500,000 for this parcel. That is actually above the appraised values and the average of the two appraisals. When we did a time adjustment from the time this property was appraised, the high appraisal came in at $10,100,000, but with the time adjustment that was factored into the appraisal reports, the high appraisal came up to $10,500,000. For these reasons, staff is recommending to go with that purchase price. This is probably the first time we've gone above the average of the two appraisals to the top appraisal. However, due to the characteristics of this property, again, that is our justification for pursuing it at this price. And anybody had any specifics on our questions on that? The other thing is this will require an extraordinary vote by the Board of County Commissioners. So in short, 4 out of 5 commissioners will have to approve this for this item to go forward.
Thank you, Robert. Any questions?
I'd just like to say I also need to recuse myself from voting due to a conflict of interest.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I have a lot of cards from public, so what we'll do is I'll run through the cards and then we'll make sure that anyone else that would like an opportunity to speak gets that opportunity. So the first is Cheryl Fisher. Cheryl here?
She may be in the other room, so we have to give it a minute.
We'll hold that and go to Keith Campbell. We might be here a while. As Keith comes up, I want to remind everyone that each speaker has a 3-minute limit. 3-minute limit, and Renee will be
I'll start the timer.
helping us with that. So, Mr. Campbell, go ahead.
On behalf of the Buckingham community, we want to thank you guys and ladies for moving this forward. There's Cheryl. This is something that we've been working on for a long time, and we do see a lot of characteristics that can keep our rural community rural. So we hope it gets approved by the county commissioners, and again, we thank you for taking the time of hearing us time and time again, filling up your rooms, your emails, the phone calls. We thank you all again.
Thank you. And did Cheryl come in? Okay, and we have Pam Charlo on deck.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Fisher. I'm a member of the Buckingham Community Association, and also I live across the street from where that property is. There is a lot of native wildlife in there. Just the other day in my own neighborhood, I saw an otter, an osprey, an eagle, numerous birds, gopher tortoises, and they all are across the street as well. It is very important that wildlife benefits human health and the rest of our ecosystem. The other big thing I think is really important for that property is the struggles of the gopher tortoise right now. They're on the news. There's a lot of groups popping up all over Florida. With all the construction we're having, there's nowhere for them to go. Nobody's relocating them, and we're losing gopher tortoises every single day. This property has been looked at. I also contacted the gopher tortoise protection people at FWC, and they also agree that it is a good habitat to help relocate. There are very few properties, especially in Lee County, that take tortoises that have to be relocated because of construction. So we're running out of space for them, and this is critical habitat for them, especially since they're a bedrock species that also helps other species survive and thrive in our environment. In that area, it's rural. We'd like to keep it that way. We're open to other stuff there, but not a construction site, and this would greatly benefit the wildlife and the whole corridor there in our area. And I really hope we go ahead and move forward with this. Thank you.
Thank you. Pam Chaplow, did I say that right? And Mr. Don Blackburn on deck.
My name is Pam Chaplow, and I'm a resident that lives just on the other side of this property. My husband and I have horses. We officially cleaned horse manure today, so we're legit. But this property is really the gateway to Buckingham, to the rural lifestyle that we all live. Personally, we have a very similar density on our property, or at least our family's property, that is on the other side of that canal. And we have personally witnessed panthers, have documentation, bobcats. It's just gopher turtles. I mean, we have seen wildlife, and we too also share that responsibility of living in harmony with them. We have horses, but we also try to limit our grazing lands so that these animals can utilize our property too. The other thing is that this property is surrounded by other horse properties and cattle grazing areas. So being the gateway into the Buckingham, the rural preserve, this is a perfect property to do so, to be utilized to be the habitat for these animals, but not just that, complementing what is around that we're trying to save. As property owners, we don't, I mean, everyone is definitely tempted by the almighty dollar, but when it's all said and done, you want a lifestyle, you want something to hand down to your kids and your grandkids, and the properties are diminishing in our area. So saving this property really makes a huge statement for East Lee County. As far as the drainage on this property, it also is imperative that that if it stayed in the 2020, that drainage is imperative for the communities around, so that flooding doesn't happen to the local properties surrounding it. So with that being said, I do want to thank this committee for considering this piece of property, and also thank in advance the county commissioners for their consideration in approving it. Thank you.
Thank you. Don Blackburn and Marcia Ellis on deck.
Thank you so much for having this again tonight. We certainly appreciate what you did months ago when you nominated this property, and it means a lot to the Buckingham people. We've been involved with it for many, many years. You're going to hear, and you've already heard, some good things that could happen to this property. One thing that that to me, I'd like to see done, and I'm sure there's other people, we've talked about it in the future, that would help the community, help the east part of the nice area. Is that me doing that? Okay. You know, we've got 4 or 5 elementary schools that are within 5 or 6 miles of this property, and then there's also middle schools. And with today's congestion of the roads, it's not going to get any better. This would be a perfect location for a destination for field trips for elementaries. And I could vision that this one day would be constructed into a park, maybe a boardwalk, but where they could have educational field schools. And they wouldn't have to get out of the traffic and travel across town. It's close by. And that's very important for young kids to take all this kind of stuff, the wildlife and the plants and so forth. Especially, you know, this property also connects to an already natural wildlife corridor that runs south almost all the way to Highway 82. So that's one of, there's many potentials, many opportunities, but that's one that I think would really, really benefit the Buckingham area and the citizens of Lee County, and to help to educate our kids on these with field trips, so they don't have to travel all the way across town to go to some other place. So thank you very much. I hope you support it and send it forward.
Thank you. Marcia Ellis And James Kennedy on deck.
Good evening, Marcia Ellis for the record. I'm just going to say that the Buckingham community has really opened their heart to being friends of this future preserve, and they are really embracing this idea that builds on the natural characteristics of this property. With the pasture in the front, you have access, you have 10 schools within 10 miles, and you have some variation on the landscape with the wetlands in the back. Those wetlands and the drainage way play an important ecological role for the community in terms of managing floodwaters as well as recharging the aquifer. The new gopher tortoise management plan that's been adopted is really favoring trying to maintain the genetic diversity of the species, and this property is ideal. It's south of the river, so it's south of Bob James, which I know has been indicated as a possible source, but it can really give that place that the gopher tortoises that are south of the river could be located. We also need to have a place like this so that we can educate the broader East Lee community and the community in general about coexistence with gopher tortoises. This provides the perfect location with limited access, which would be appropriate, to be a gopher tortoise refuge and a place where people can be educated in a hands-on way, the local school children as well as the community, with some events that the Buckingham Community like to join in to share their beautiful rural enclave with the broader community. So I really think that you guys have indicated that you are in support of this, and I know that the price point is a little bit out of norm. However, the benefits of this property to the broader community can't be underestimated. So we're looking forward to your support.
Thank you. James Kennedy with Sandra Wilkes on deck.
First of all, I hate to follow Marcia. I think she stated most of the points pretty good. My name's James Kennedy. I live in Alva. I'm here supporting the community of Buckingham, and I also really support this purchase. I'm the president of East Lee Wildlife Stewardship Group. Marcia's also a board member, and we were formed last year about this time because of community outcry due to the loss of habitat and the pressures that we're seeing. I know that there's some concern about the price point on this. This is one of those things that I think the value is there, because this is, especially in the current development climate we're in, a piece of property like this, for us to get our hands on and be able to preserve it in any form or fashion as a habitat area and green space is important, and it's virtually irreplaceable at this point. The upland portion of the property is perfect for gopher tortoise inhabitants, if you will. And the reason why it's important is right now our only recipient site in this area, it's full. It also floods because it's somewhat wetlands. So this area has the potential to be a recipient site for other construction projects that we have. And because it would be county owned, you would be able to have an effect on the relocation costs that go along with construction. On average, the cost to relocate a gopher tortoise is about $6,000, and a good chunk of that cost is the cost of a recipient site, because recipient site prices can't be set by FWC. That's set by the property owner. Having a site like this that, as far as I know, the density is low enough to where we would still be able to relocate. It actually gives us an opportunity to save some gopher tortoises besides just the ones that are already there. The location within 5 miles, or being so close to the 5 schools, it's an educational opportunity. For any of you that grew up in Southwest Florida, you might remember taking field trips to 6 Mile Cypress. This, as Mr. Blackburn said, could become one of those places that is a field trip destination. So supporting education. It supports groundwater recharge. You know, this is a large, well-draining, sandy area. This is the type of stuff that helps us preserve a seriously impacted the hydrology of the area and the aquifers. So, yes, ma'am. I really would like to see this go forward, and I appreciate your support as you've expressed so far. Thanks.
Thank you. Sandra Wilkes with Nancy Holte, did I say that right, on deck? No? Hutto. Okay, thank you.
Good evening. I want to thank you for this opportunity to have my 3 minutes. I agree with all that has been said thus far. This is a great place to have field trips for our children to learn in the preservation of local wildlife and rural styles of life to coexist with all nature. We have many schools located nearby, as you have already heard, and it would be close for many visits. It is a great place to keep God's creations for years to come, and our children's future would benefit immensely. We hope you will consider this and pass it for us, as we've been working on it for 3 years, and we love the area, and we would like to see it be a place that can prosper and people can learn more about the Buckingham area. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nancy Hutto? Okay. With Terry Lodge on deck?
Well, first of all, I thank you for taking the time and the consideration of doing this. We have worked really hard the last 4 years for this property. It has a lot of potential, not only for the wildlife, but for the children to learn out there. They have a place out there, and it's a natural wildlife corridor that we've had. I've been out there 47 years, and I just think that it needs to be preserved. And I thank y'all for your time, and I hope you'll put it in consideration of taking it in there. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last scheduled speaker is Terry Lodge, but if there's anyone else who would like to speak on this, you'll come up next.
Well, I'll say I've had the pleasure of being on several of the properties acquired by Conservation 2020 over the last 6 years I've lived in Lee County. And this one really stands out for so many reasons that have been brought to your attention already. Just the accessibility to this property is huge compared to a lot of the other pieces that we own across the county. And the amount of things that can be done with this are so much more limitless than other pieces. So I appreciate the fact that you're considering it, even though it's a smidge above where you might have with the appraisal. We all know appraisals can come in at multiple amounts, being in real estate. But your decision to move forward on this will benefit this county and the millions that live here in the future. And we appreciate everything you're doing today. So thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Terry Lodge.
Speaker, do we have another? Okay.
Again, for the record, Barbara Manzo, Eyes on Conservation 2020. In addition, we fully support this property, the purchase of this property. It is a very important piece of property. But I also want to say that it's a big hit to the Conservation 2020 fund, purchasing fund, and I want to make sure that the commissioners and everyone remember their promise to, as we purchase these important parcels, that they will continue to replenish the fund to the level it's supposed to be at, so that every important parcel in this county gets purchased. And I want to thank Robert Clemens. I know, having worked with Robert for so many years, his due diligence in getting the appraisals and then bringing this forward, even though it is a unique situation. We need to keep our eye on the ball with this one, and then to make sure that just because it's a big hit, the fund gets replenished for the future projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public? Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Bill Burdett from Buckingham. I spent many years with the Buckingham Conservancy, also spent many years on this 2020 committee. And I appreciate the work that Robert's done to bring this negotiated agreement to the table today. But I want to remind everybody that the appraisals, those only show the value of the land itself. It's up to us to take into consideration the value of, one, the stormwater management potential, which covers a broad area all the way from 6 Mile Cypress to the Orange River, affecting a lot of people, and it's part of the county's strategic floodwater management plan. And the other big value is the water quality benefits on this property, which is more than regional. It extends to the Orange River, Manatee Park, CLASAC River, and our estuaries. So I hope you'll bring all of those values into consideration when you look at this agreement, and let's go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public on this item? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the committee. Is there any committee discussion?
Carl, I'd like to make a motion to move forward with the acquisition of this property, Shane Spring.
We have a motion.
Joseph Cruz.
Who wants that second?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Motion is second. Any discussion? No discussion? Yes.
I just wanted to say it's getting fewer and fewer times we're able to buy larger pieces of property. And I think this would really benefit us to do this.
Anyone else? Okay, we have a motion on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With myself abstaining, that passes unanimously. Yeah.
There was
Two
one other.
abstentions.
Oh, thank you. So there were two of us. Okay, that concludes our consideration of purchase agreements. So we will go into acquisition reviews. And when we vote on these, we won't have to give a reason if we are negative. So I'm just letting you know up front. Also, we have a lot of people here from Sanibel, so I want to respect your time. And we're going to try to move you up front. If there is no one in the audience that plans on public comment on items A through D, we'll be able to move you up. So is there anyone here that would like to speak under public comment sections for A, B, C, or D? Move it up. Barbara? Yes. Are you also going to speak on Sanibel?
Yes, I'm sorry, what did you?
Well, if you're going to speak with them as well, what I'm trying to do is give everyone here the opportunity to get through theirs first. So we're going to go out of order.
Oh, are you doing that first?
Yeah, if you're the only public speaker, okay, great. So we're going to jump and do E first, and then we'll go back A and finish up. So Robert, would you take us through E?
Item E is the Sanibel Golf Course. All of y'all have been sent the information that was submitted by the property owner for review, so I won't go through all the specifics in that, just touch on some of the characteristics of the property itself. The parcel is approximately 150 acres. It has 2 units of density associated with it. I think there's 2, we'll just call them lots for the lack of a better word, associated with this property. It's surrounded by about 238 homes. It has a clubhouse, restaurant, pro shop, cart barn, restrooms, pump house, and maintenance building. The maintenance building is in the upper northeast portion adjacent to the city's wastewater treatment plant. All of this funnels down through the waterway called the Sanibel Slough. It's currently an active golf course damaged by Hurricane Ian and Milton. These water bodies run along the course, and as you can see, the course is kind of fingered out rather than, one large contiguous flow of land. And these waters are some of the most impaired from what was presented to us with regard to phosphorus and nitrogen. Beyond that, it's presented as what it is here. So I don't know if anyone had any other questions regarding this, or?
Are there any questions before we move on to public comment? Yes.
I'm just going to say, we have not been in the business of buying golf courses. We didn't buy the one in Cape Coral. We didn't buy the one in North Fort Myers. And this doesn't, to me, meet the criteria of what 2020 property is. Karen Anderson.
Thank you. Anyone else? Just questions before we move on? Okay, if there are no questions of staff, then we'll go through the public, and we'll do like we did before. We'll give everyone in order. So the first speaker is Charlie Graves, and we have Becky Malka on deck.
My name is Charlie Graves. My wife, Tolly, and I live at 1288 Parview Drive, Sanibel, in a single-family home on the 14th Fairway. We bought our home in 1999 after vacationing and playing golf here for numerous years at Beachview Golf Club, now known as Sanibel Island Golf Club. The beauty of Sanibel and the tranquil nature setting of wildlife, nature, and the water at the Sanibel Golf Club led us to the purchase of our home here. After purchasing our home, the history of Sanibel, the Beachview subdivision, and golf course became important to us. I'd like to briefly discuss this history today. Hugo Lindgren, a successful businessman from Jamestown, New York, first visited here in 1955. He was a man of strong entrepreneurial vision. He first bought land here mainly on the east end, which included the area where Beachview Subdivision and Sanibel Golf Club lie today. He had envisioned Sanibel as a place where people could come and live in nice homes, have a boat, fish, play golf, and enjoy the beautiful nature amenities of Sanibel. Not just rows of high-rise condos and hotels like many other Florida beach communities. His vision and work started the process, and he was instrumental in the building of the original Sanibel Bridge and Causeway, the first water system to Sanibel from Pine Island, and the first sewage plant as part of the Beachview single-family land development. After the flooding caused by Hurricane Donna in 1960, he realized that his land purchases needed to be elevated prior to building any single-family homes. Mr. Lindgren used the expertise of Amy's Engineering and Michigan Homes to dig canals and ponds on the east end and in Beachview, elevating the building sites and the golf course for single-family residences. He recognized the economic impact and viability that these developments would have on the island, as far as goods, services, and amenities, as well as for revenues to the governments of Lee County and Sanibel. In closing, the Beachview Subdivision and Sanibel Island Golf Club were built for a purpose. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been invested in single-family homes within Beachview and the Sanibel Golf Club course. And the Sanibel Golf Course was and is a critical factor for that investment. To take that golf course away after it was developed for that purpose would have a tremendous negative economic financial impact, not only on homeowners.
You wrap it up, please.
Can I finish?
Just a second. We've got to stay on.
I just have just a few more sentences.
Go ahead.
To take the golf course away, it was developed for that purpose, would have a tremendous negative financial effect not only on the homeowners, but also on the city and county tax bases and all Sanibel businesses, making Sanibel less resilient to economic, financial, and weather disturbances now and for years to come. And because approximately 67% of the island is already protected conservation land, we respectfully request that you will vote not to acquire this property for Conservation 2020. Thank you for your time to express these comments.
Thank you. We have Becky Malka and John Gritty on deck, and I want to remind everyone, we have 3 minutes, so let's please try respecting everybody's time and try to stay to that 3 minutes.
Good evening, Becky Molka for record. I am the 2025 Realtors Association. We did send you a letter on the behalf of the association. Hopefully you all had a chance to read it. I'm just going to touch on a couple of points. The loss of the golf course would change the quality of life for the residents and property owners, and the irreversible land use change would alter the character of Beachview community forever. The Conservation 2020 land acquisition program was designed to buy and preserve wild lands that have home to wildlife and natural landscapes. This property is a golf course and not a conservation. Please consider this for your 2020 vote. Thank you.
Thank you. John Gritty, and if I don't do well with a name, please forgive me. I'm doing my best with that.
You got it right. To
Thank
make
you.
things quickly, I live right there.
Okay, and we have Bill Hatch on deck.
My name is John Gritty. As I said, I live on Parview Drive. The quick story is much like Charlie's and probably the other 200 homeowners here. We came to the island, fell in love with the island. We loved the golf. We loved that there was tennis there. We loved that there's a restaurant there. We loved that we could walk to the beach. It was the perfect location. And so we bought about 9 years ago and have loved it. It's just a wonderful place. You guys certainly know that a golf course, I think as Karen mentioned earlier, it's not a natural area, okay? You look up the definition, clearly it's not a natural area. So we would hope, and your scoring shows that it is an area that really you shouldn't be really considering for long. Of course, has been there 50 plus years. Some of the newer section has been there 30 plus years. So it's been there obviously a long time. One of the things I live have a home up north near Park System. You probably all have heard of the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, but they recently, or in that area, recently acquired a golf course. And oh, by the way, about 4 or 5 years after they acquired it, they are still doing construction on it, and they've spent $4.5 million plus remediating it. So I wonder, when you talk about the cost of just buying it, are you also making sure you consider that there's a whole lot of money? As you see the way this thing winds through the fingers of our 200 plus homes, my house will be unsellable if there's excavators and tractors and all the equipment you need to be running through there to make it a natural area. This place is a golf course. It's a golf course, unfortunately, and there's lots of wildlife, tons of wildlife, but it just doesn't meet Conservation 2020. Taxes. That place pays hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales taxes to the state of Florida, to Lee County, to property taxes, over $30,000 that goes to the city. That course is a generator of tax revenue. It becomes a preserve. It's going to be a user of tax revenue. Sanibel can't keep, and SCCF can't keep their preserves clean now. We still have garbage in them from Hurricane Ian from 2 years ago. Thank you for the warning. So we're trying to buy it. There's a whole lot of homeowners that are doing our best to try and buy it. We're trying to negotiate. I pray that we can find a deal, but we just don't think we should be pressured by the government and taxpayer funds to raise what should be a fair price for a golf course. I mean, and I appreciate, we hope that you'll vote no on this application. Close? Thank you.
Thank you. Karen, let me see, I'm sorry. Bill Hatch and Karen Bell on deck.
My name is Bill Hatch, and I live on Birdie View. Mine's too high to point to, so I won't try. I'm just here to say that I don't think Conservation 2020, it was founded to try and take care of businesses. This is a business transaction. It needs to be left to be a business transaction. And I don't think county and city funds should be used for acquiring this property. I appreciate what Conservation 2020 does, and I think the property that we just saw and heard from all those people is a perfect use of Conservation 2020 funds. This is not. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Bell and Chris Stray on deck.
Hi, excuse me. I'm Karen Bell. I live at 776 Birdie Point. That's right up there. I've had 2 houses in Beachview subdivision. I've built both of them. I love Sanibel. I moved here in 1979. Believe it or not, I love living on a golf course, and that would be, it would be detrimental to lose our golf course for Sanibel, economic reasons. I have been a realtor on Sanibel for, next year will be 40 years. And I have customers right now, and I've talked to other realtors that also have customers that would buy houses in Sanibel, in Beachview, but will not until they find out what goes on with this vote. They don't want to buy if it is not a golf course. This is a golf course community. It will be a loss to our property values. It will be a loss to property taxes. Because if our property values go down, property taxes will also go down. Just in 4 sales, you'll lose the documentary stamps that go to Lee County. I mean, there will be a lot of ways that we have loss in revenue to the county and to the city. I would hope that we already have 67% of Sanibel is already green space, preserve, wildlife refuge, owned by the Conservation Foundation and the city. And we need a golf course, not more reserve. Please vote no.
Thank you. Chris Stray and Bill Burdette on deck. Chris here? Straw, is that it? Okay, that's it. And Bill Burdette on deck?
My name is Chris Strop. I live and play on Sanibel. I also work on Sanibel. I don't golf, but I see an immense value, first and foremost, to Sanibel remaining in control of itself. I don't want anybody that doesn't live on Sanibel to be in control of our island. You have to live on Sanibel to fully appreciate Sanibel, the magic and the love that is there in that wild place. And that's the first reason. That's the emotional reason. The second reason is I didn't come dressed like this on purpose. I run iguana. I do iguana removal. And golf courses are one of the best places we have to fight the onslaught of iguanas. I came from a golf course here on the mainland today. And if you want to see what we're facing in the years to come, do a Google search on iguana problem on the east coast of Florida and watch some of the YouTube videos. There are absolutely iguanas everywhere. And the best place we have to fight them, because it's open, is the golf course. They hire people like me to come in and remove the invasive iguanas. You know, and without that, I mean, SCCF has already said, at least to my understanding, they don't want to manage this preserve if it becomes a preserve. I might be wrong, but that was my understanding. But I can't get on the SCCF lands. As far as I know, nobody can get on them to do the iguana removal. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse anyway. But we can do a little bit to stem the tide that is coming.
So anyway, I want to thank you, but please do not take away the Sanibel Golf Course. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Burdette? Is Bill here? Bill Burdette?
In the other room. Call the next one. I'll go get him.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, Eric Seifert and Mark Gabellini's on deck.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eric Seifert. I'm a Beachview resident. I'm the president of the Beachview Neighborhood Association and a founding investor in the Sanibel Island Golf Course Partners, LLC. Thank you for the work you do on behalf of Conservation 2020. I read that your mission is to protect and enhance natural areas. Our golf course is far from a natural area. While it teems with flora and fauna, it consists of 155 acres of tightly mowed and manicured grounds. Converting the course to a county park that abuts our backyards, my backyard, is both incongruous, reckless, and be financially devastating to our residents. As previous speakers said, 67% of our island is already in conservation, and the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation is already struggling to maintain that. Sanibel also is a struggling economy. 3 hurricanes. Our island needs to attract visitors for our tourist-driven economy. Losing a significant island attraction like our course will curb economic growth as well as reduce property valuations and tax base, along with important Lee County sales tax revenue. Our Beachview neighborhood real estate of 225 homes is currently in a free fall. Home sales have ceased during this period of uncertainty with the future of the golf course. I and others in my neighborhood and in my investor group are sympathetic to the current golf course owners' over-leveraged finances. Our investor group has raised our offer to buy the course by millions since the negotiations have began. We seek ownership at a price consistent with other golf courses that require millions in restoration work. Please let the economic forces of nature prevail here. We are making a full and fair offer for the business and its obligations. The offer as it stands today accounts for the vast storm damage that has occurred and reflects the significant new investment that's required to return this business to a first-class destination for Lee County, its residents, and island tourists. What we need from you is to please take your finger off the scales in this transaction. My community has paid a premium for the lots and homes in our neighborhood in order to be able to live in a vibrant golf community. The fact that the current course owners are over-leveraged and lack sufficient capital does not mean a better funded golf course operation like ourselves cannot be successful. I'm sure you work tirelessly to review many worthy properties. Please consider using our tax dollars in a way that reflects the long-term interests of Lee County and its residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, I think we found Bill. Is that you, Bill? No? No, I guess we didn't. So Mark, you're up. Okay. So we have Mark and Alicia Milner.
Good evening. Mark Abellini, not Abellini Hart Law Firm. I represent several residents in the Beachview community whose houses border on the golf course. And I'm here to tell you that acquisition of this golf course using Conservation 2020 funds would be unwise and I'll skip through the legal argument, but legally questionable. And I think it can be challenged and would be challenged. The 2020 program was established, in the county's words, as a land acquisition and stewardship program to protect natural areas. Those 3 words, protect, first of all, of course, this is a golf course, and it can't be anything but a golf course, and it will not be developed for anything other than perhaps another recreational use, and golf course being what it would be. And there would be requirement to have a zoning change, and there would be requirement to have a land use change in the city of Sanibel, and that would be challenged by, I think, the residents here. So the future would be uncertain even if it was moved ahead. Now, as far as the other aspect, it being a natural area, this is not a natural area, it's a created area, and of course, the fables I tell you back in the day that the Sanibel Slough was created as well, and there's some fishing guides that tell you the story. But natural also is not correct because of the golf course itself. I mean, this was an extensive plumbing venture that was done, and among the consultants was Tom Messimer of the University of actually Florida State University Geology Department, and he was involved in reviewing the design and the approvals in 1990, which was the second of the two approvals for the Beachview community. The staff analysis confirms this, and they're telling you about the challenges of there being a preserve in an area where there's urban influences, and we have a golf course that winds through a residential community. And then, of course, the highest of score ratings on the significant water resources even admits that the water quality benefits of an acquisition here are uncertain. Gave it 15 points. But the uncertainty, certainly with all the work that had gone into it, is something that needs to be considered. Now, finally, I'll skip real quick since I got the warning that we have a situation where we know there's a foreclosure pending on this property, and we know that there are active negotiations. And I don't think the 2020 program is purposed to go ahead and enter the negotiations or a bidding war for a piece of property. And we have here residents whose homes actually are the generator of 2020 funds. So again, we respect your consideration and that you reject moving ahead with this nomination. Thank you.
Thank you. Alicia Milner with Jeff Blackman on deck.
Good evening. My name's Alicia Milner. My husband and I own a home on the Beachview area of Sanibel. We're one of the newer owners. We bought in April 2023. So as you may know, Sanibel is home to 3 golf courses, 2 of which are accessible to the public, 1 private. The Sanibel Island Golf Club is an important recreational resource on the island. All residents and any visitor, whether they're for a day, a week, a month, or longer, can enhance their enjoyment of their time on the island by visiting the course. Our local Beachview community is working hard to preserve this recreational asset. Over 100 Beachview owners have stepped up and intend to invest to maintain the course as a recreational asset that that the community, the broader public, and Sanibel as a vacation destination can benefit from. While we appreciate the important work that Conservation 2020 does related to natural land in Lee County, we are here before you to emphasize how important this particular parcel of land is as a recreational golf resource. Please help us by opposing the purchase of this parcel of land. We want to ensure that the golf course remains an integral part of Sanibel Island for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Blackman with Jacqueline Altman as our last scheduled speaker.
My name is Jeff Blackman, Sanibel resident and attorney representing the property owner. And
Can't hear you.
you cannot hear me. Let me try putting it up a little bit like that. My name is Jeff Blackman, Sanibel resident and attorney representing the property owner. And I'm not accustomed to being the skunk at the party, I will admit. Everyone here loves the Sanibel Island Golf Club, including myself. I've been taking my son and my nephews there for 15 years. And nobody loves the course more than Drew Donnelly, who has worked almost nonstop for the past 5 years through hell and high water to keep the neighborhood's golf course open. But we have to come to terms with difficult realities. We've all lost a great deal since Hurricane Ian. We've lost homes, we've lost businesses. Unfortunately, it may be that the Sanibel Island Golf Course is one of those businesses that we lose to the post-hurricane reality. It just may be that Sanibel can no longer support 3 18-hole golf courses. We are vulnerable to water. We've had 4 storm surges in 2 years. Our water table is rising beneath us and the seas are rising around us. The City of Sanibel is putting together a stormwater management plan. We need to fix our water flow and retention. Here is an opportunity to convert 150 acres in the heart of the island back into wetlands and to restore the natural flow of the Sanibel River. All of us on Sanibel have lost property values, but living next to a conservation area is not the reason. On the contrary, conservation helps all our property values. 2/3 of Sanibel's land is already in conservation. Nearly every Sanibel neighborhood adjoins conservation lands. Much like a golf course community, property values for homes that back onto conservation lands can be higher than homes across the street that don't. It's a big part of why we call Sanibel a sanctuary island and choose to live there over Naples or Marco. Turning the course into conservation lands would also carry economic benefits to Sanibel and Lee County by emphasizing Sanibel's attraction as a world-renowned ecotourist destination off Southwest Florida's Gulf Coast. Imagine living next to one of Sanibel's premier ecological zones where it's possible to paddleboard down a restored and cleaned up Sanibel River or fly fish off its banks.
Everyone, please. Hey, Laura, please be respectful of everyone.
Thank you for your courtesy. Like I said, I am the skunk
Let's
party.
get back to the subject and please respect each other.
I think I've been interrupted in my.
I'll call the 3 minutes. Please close it up.
I'm just about done.
Finish up, please.
What I was saying is that you could paddleboard down a cleaned up river or fly fish off its banks. The neighborhood property values will come back. Finally, this golf course has been for sale for almost 3 years. The neighborhood group has had ample time to purchase it. Only last Wednesday did they put forward an offer verbally, and it was too little. There is a large constituency on Sanibel for conservation projects just like this. This room does not reflect Sanibel as a whole.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to
Please move this project forward to the commission for a vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Altman?
Well, I'm glad I'm the last one speaking, because I'd like to address what this gentleman said and what your counselor, I'm not sure the right name, Mr. Ruanes, had to say. I'd like to say that, you know, the history of Sanibel is not a 10-year history about our golf course is not a 10-year history. Our golf course history is about many years of an owner who spent too much money and used the golf course as collateral with the bank to pay off his other debts. And as such, the cost of the loans went up and up and up. And then the bank, which Mr. Ruane wants to say has been so generous, actually sold it to 2 people with no business experience whatsoever at a totally elevated price, and now they want their money back. And because of that, we are now, as a community of 200, and you can see we're here, we're a unit who cares about where we live. We're here to do what we can to save our golf course. The island is full of wrecked trees, wrecked properties, filthy rivers. I don't know how we're going to be suddenly having this beautiful river where the money's supposed to come to maintain it. Actually, with my money, I'm a widow. I've just lost my husband, and now I'm facing in my neighborhood are prices coming down much more than anywhere else. That's another story. They're all the same. They are not all the same, and you've had real estate agents tell you that. And honestly, it's really not up to you guys to be making a decision that is a business decision. They pay too much for the property. They want to put it on us. Their loan is coming due, and so they look for an out, and they've come to you. And I really respect what you do. We all live on Sanibel because we care about nature. One of the reasons we live in Beachview, I can tell you that a huge population in the community have dogs. We buy in Beachview because we can walk our dogs, because for exactly this reason, we can be with nature and not be worrying about wildlife getting our animals. And that may not seem like a big thing to you, but I can tell you to this community it is. And we bring money to the island, not take it away. And I just hope that you understand that the last speaker spoke of some kind of euphoric place that doesn't exist. And Mr. Ruane spoke of spoke about a bank, to be good to a bank because they've invested in Sanibel. And what we should really be talking about is how they allowed this golf course to be destroyed because the buyers who bought it could not afford and they had not enough money to invest what was required. We're going to try our best to make it the beautiful place that we want it to be. And I hope you will understand that we need your help to do that, and that we're here to support. We love our island, and we love our golf course, and we love our community. Please don't destroy it.
Thank you. Margaret, did you want to speak? Okay. And if there's anyone else that wants to speak after this speaker, please let me know.
Once again, Barbara Manzo, representing Eyes on Conservation 2020. First of all, to the people of Sanibel, if you have a plan to keep your golf course and you have the money behind it, good for you if you can keep it. But to this group, I want to remind you that I've stood before you many times and said it's time to change the criteria so that we look at land and not just look at this or any golf course and say it's a golf course, we don't buy golf courses. And so please remember that you need to be open when a parcel comes before you, regardless of whether it's a golf course. If it keeps it natural and it keeps open space, then you please need to keep that in mind. Again, to the people of Sanibel, I'm glad that you have a way to keep this as a golf course, but I think if you couldn't keep it as a golf course and you were threatened with development on that land, you would be here begging the county.
Excuse me, let's please be respectful. You are given the respect of other people.
I'm simply saying that we need to be more open to what we buy. I'm neither advocating for purchasing it in Conservation 2020 or not, just that we need to be more open, and if you have a plan, that's great, but hopefully it doesn't get to the point where you come back and say, yes, please buy it, so that we keep open space. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else from the public like to speak on this item? Seeing no one else, we'll bring it back to the committee, and we'll start with any discussion.
Carl. Again, Christy, Karen, Carl, and I have been on this committee for a long, long time. We've gone through this, unfortunately, many times with golf courses, and we have not done it just because, on advice of staff, and when we start looking at this, the amount of money it will take for us to even bring this to be able to make it a conservation land, we don't have anymore. We don't have the ability to do so. Staff doesn't have the ability to do so, and let alone, it's not going to make any sense for us to do this. So thinking through this and going through this, I make a motion to deny this request for purchase and acquisition.
I'd like to second.
We have a motion and a second, so we'll have discussion. Any discussion? The motion is to deny. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We'll finish that item, and we'll jump back to the top and go to nomination 573-2. Robert? Renee, do you need something? Sure. Okay. So we're going to take a 5-minute break, everyone. Will everyone disperse and come back? And we'll start back to the top of 6A, nomination 573-2. Robert?
All right, nomination 573-2 is a crew parcel. It scored 79 points. Staff recommends to pursue or proceed to the board with recommendation to pursue acquisition.
Thank you. Any questions? Any public? Yes, no?
No, they said Barbara, we're making you get your exercise today.
Thank you, Barbara Manzo. Again, we're in favor of this purchase. It's an important parcel in the crew property, so thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No one else from the public, so it comes back to the committee. Any discussion? Anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to put this forward.
Motion to move it forward.
I'll second.
And a second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Karen?
Yeah.
Okay, so Robert, 583-2.
583-2 is a parcel on Pine Island. It's about 47 acres. It's on the east side of Pine Island Road, it's on the east side of Stringfellow, south of Pine Island Road. This parcel scored 16 points due to its characteristics is basically farm fields with these isolated ponds. Staff does not recommend to pursue acquisition of this parcel. It's not contiguous to any other conservation lands and would be an expensive endeavor for management purposes.
Question to staff? Karen?
I just have a comment. I understand the reasons for staff not wanting to recommend this, but is the county interested in purchasing this? Because it is, if they need to expand the water treatment plant, and they also have a mulch, a big mulch field there that people come and
I've presented this to other departments, and at this time, I haven't received any interest in it.
Okay.
Any other questions before we go to public comment? And we have some public comment.
Barbara Manzo. We understand that this received a low score. The comment that it's not contiguous to anything, it is right in the vicinity, and I think we've made it a point of continuing to purchase properties that are within the vicinity of other large parcels of conservation land. Not sure why it got such a low score. Robert, you mentioned farm fields. We obviously have purchased farm fields before. And it's a large parcel, and we would ask you to consider this parcel. We think it's a good one. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Bring it back to the committee. Any discussion? Anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to deny moving it forward.
Shane, motion deny. Any second?
Terrio, second.
Thank you. A motion is second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item C, nomination 588-2.
588-2 is in North Fort Myers. It's at the end of Old Bridge Road. It's adjacent to a county-owned property. Natural Resources has managed this and has installed a filter marsh system in there. However, the parcel scored 30 points. Its characteristics aren't such that staff would recommend pursuing this for acquisition.
Any questions, staff?
I have one, Robert, just out of curiosity, why? I mean, just again, without seeing the property firsthand, is there a reason why it's not?
It's going to be difficult to manage. I think it's heavily infested with exotics to begin with. location as such doesn't lead to much expansion. It's going to be relatively small overall, and it's bifurcated by the canal that runs, through the middle of this yellow parcel.
Any other questions? I have one. Robert, what is the county's purpose for the yellow land?
That yellow land was donated to Lee County by FDOT a couple of 10 years ago or so. This is Powell Creek. I'm looking at Powell.
Yes,
This
yes.
is Powell Creek. I was trying to make eye contact.
I was looking at the map.
This is the Powell Creek outfall, and the filter marsh was to pick up and clean Powell Creek as it flowed through, correct?
Yes, it also takes a little bit of CLASAC water.
So it was I guess the answer to your question is it was donated to the county, and then the county utilized it for this filter marsh purpose.
Okay.
Can you repeat that? We can't hear you.
This property was donated to Lee County by FDOT, and we installed a filter marsh on it through Natural Resources for Powell Creek.
Any other discussion?
So in the yellow hash area, was exotics pulled out of there at all, or is there any kind of maintenance being treated on that?
It has happened several times that we have treated the invasive exotics.
And is there a direct connection between the two pieces, or is there a berm or something separating?
The berm is around the filter marsh, and the other area of the property is fenced, but that's about it. There are many houses, like in the north part of the property, of our property. So, and they put exotics, so they do come to the property.
Any other discussion before we go to the public? If not, then we will go to the public.
Good afternoon. Holly Schwartz from Eyes on Conservation 2020. I'm going to give Barb a break.
Holly, go to the microphone. We can't hear you.
Okay. Holly Schwartz, Eyes on Conservation 2020. I kind of like where she was going with her comments. Why not? I mean, our water quality is still bad. Why not consider it for potentially more water filtration if that's the case? Leaving it up to staff, obviously, to say whether it's valuable or not, but if we lose it, it's going to get developed.
Anyone else in the public? Okay, we'll bring it back to committee.
Robert, I have one more question. Robert, did he give a price for this yet or not?
I got a suggested one.
From him?
Yeah.
I've got
quite high.
Any other discussion?
Well, don't you think we should know that?
I'm sorry?
I'm asking, don't you think we should know what the possible price would be before we decide to nominate this?
We don't make that a consideration for purchases. We used to, but that was withdrawn, so that's why I didn't bring it up.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
I have,
Shane?
again, 11 acres. I mean, Meloka, and again, Maria, I'm guessing this is going to be you. What would the cost, I mean, have you got, I guess you wouldn't look into that until we moved it forward to maybe potential purchase to see what it would cost to clean it up? And then when it came back if we moved it forward and it came back, then we can make you say the cost of what we would have to do to make this to where it would worth it wouldn't be conducive for us to purchase this, correct? Haven't we done that before? That we move something forward and then once it comes back, because of what it's going to take to do it, it just doesn't make sense and we haven't moved it forward?
We have, obviously, it's up to the will of the committee.
Yeah, I'd just like to remind everybody that we should look at this on the merits of the property and does it meet our criteria? And if it does, we should move it forward. If it doesn't, I think we shouldn't. So that's just my opinion. Any other discussion before we look for a motion?
I have to like Shane's suggestion of we move it forward for what it is under the premise that we find out, what it's actually going to cost to rehabilitate. Then at that point, we make a decision whether it's worthy of moving completely forward or not. I don't think we have sufficient information to say. I mean, it abuts a vital piece of property. It would add to the filtration if it's within reasonable costs. and it's already it's county land, so I mean, I see value.
But the area to the south is not a designated preserve, correct?
No.
County.
It has a filter marsh and it uses a pump because it's elevated.
Yeah.
So to bring the water in there and to have the filtration that property is giving to the water, it needs to actively be brought by a pump. So it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same to buy that property and not to do a project in it. It wouldn't have the same benefits.
Yeah, right.
That's what I guess I was kind of getting at, that side of it, you know, so, okay.
Any other discussion before we look for a motion? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion not to move it forward for purchase.
Motion not to move forward, is there a second?
Bridget Terry will second.
Motion not to move forward in a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We have 2 opposed.
I second it.
Yeah.
I like Shane's idea about,
Well, again, I didn't realize it wasn't conservation land where the filter marsh is, and that's kind of why I changed my tune. Because if it was conservation land, that would have been different. Because it's not, then it goes under natural resources, and, you know, it's a whole different animal, so.
Really good discussion, though. I appreciate everybody jumping in and sharing. So now we're going to go to 659. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep. Parcel 659 is on Ben Hill Griffin. It is surrounded by conservation easements. Staff does not recommend to pursue this property. It scored a 9, and we're looking at about a 8-acre tract of land.
Any questions, staff?
Robert, I'm not going to ask. I'm going to, you let everyone know we usually don't buy anything with conservation easements on it. We've had this come over and over and over again, and we usually will not ever buy anything there that has a conservation easement on it.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally we get stuff that has, you know, pieces like this, maybe, but just this whole setup. If the whole thing, we've not bought one that's totally covered with conservation easements.
Yeah, but nothing with this much that is all conservation easement on there, because they're supposed to maintain it, and then it falls.
Right.
Because people that are new, we've had this come up before where it's part of the development, they have it, and then we don't buy it because they're supposed to maintain it, then they're trying to throw it back on the county to buy.
So you really say what's the public purpose?
Yes.
It's already there.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
So could this property be sold for development?
Not with a conservation easement on, I don't think.
Are we sure about that?
The center part does not have a conservation easement on it. It can be sold for development.
Looking for a motion?
Public comment. Public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Public comments. Sorry, Barbara. I almost jumped over you, but Shane wouldn't let me do that.
Barbara Manzo, Eyes on 2020. This was the parcel that you were going to bring forward last month when we didn't have a quorum, so I stayed for this one. The reason I stayed for it is, and I know that I can't ask questions and you're not going to answer them, but I throw this out to all of you. We worked extremely hard to keep as much land as possible out of development along the 6-mile Cypress Slough corridor. We also worked very hard to keep no street lights on that corridor because of the flyway, the birds, and all of the wildlife in there. That land is, there's another parcel just north of this, I believe it's north, yeah, that is an extremely critical parcel that is right now in front of the county for zoning changes to become a huge, another development, and it really is very dangerous for the slough to continue to pass up properties if they come up. I know it's small, I know there's problems, but we need to be thinking about the fact that this corridor needs to be kept as much as possible without the kind of building that will disrupt this very important. questions, but the questions are there, and I think you should all be asking those questions. It might be a small parcel. I don't know what the price is. I'm not sure why it scored so low. If it can come back for development, that's just one more piece of land gone in that corridor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? No, now we'll bring it back to the committee. Any?
8 acres includes the stuff that's already under conservation easement, correct? So it's really about
Yeah.
maybe 5 acres that we would be additional?
That's presented, yeah. My assumption is it's probably spread a little bit. So that's a key point to that one.
Any other discussion? If there's no discussion, would someone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion not to move it forward.
Shane moves not to move forward. Is there a second?
Second.
Who made the second? Kristen, okay. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor not to move it forward?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Karen opposes. We got one. Okay. Thank you. That brings us through 6 and brings us to 7 staff update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have a lot going on here recently, this past year here, short time here. National area coordinators are trimming trails that have been wet, making sure that they advertise it when the trails are dry so people can start using them again. Lee County DOT heavy equipment crews are working on mooring trails to make them accessible as possible. Coordinators are getting sites prepped for prescribed fires. This year is a shorter than anticipated burn window. Coordinators are working on sending out exotic plant control projects for bid. 6 Mile Cypress Slough Preserve, 390 acres of mitigation area exotic treatment awarded. The BOCC approved it starting in April. 6 Mile Cypress Slough Preserve North, they had a volunteer work day for exotic plant control and trail trimming. Yellowfield Creek Preserve, the Girl Scouts, local Girl Scouts work day to clean up the litter. They helped us out with that. St. Carlos Bay Bunch Beach Preserve, work day to clean up paddling trails from hurricane debris, working on restoration plannings to restore and protect from storm events. Bob James Preserve, 74 acres prescribed burn. This past year, restoration planning for Gopher Tortoise relocation site preparation. Imperial Marsh Preserves, pine thinning workday to restore wet prairie ecosystems. 332 acres of mitigation area exotic treatment awarded. On Prairie Pines Preserve, 195 acres exotic treatment awarded. Hancock Preserve, 22 acres exotic treatment awarded. And the Yucapens Preserve, 69 acres exotic treatment awarded. Pine Islands Flatwoods Preserve, fence replacement project awarded. Caloosahatchee Creek Preserve, East, 200 acres exotic treatment awarded. And San Carlos Bay Bunch Beach Preserve, volunteer cleanup. The Cape Coral Christian Academy School performed the cleanup and picked up litter on that particular site. And Rick is going to take it from there.
Yep, Rick Bauer, Lee County Parks and Rec. So our team's been doing some prescribed burning this year as well. We've done an 85-acre prescribed fire at Charlotte Harbor Buffer Preserve in January. Since that fire, we've documented beautiful pawpaw, which is a critically endangered plant, which is only found in 2 counties in Florida, and this is a new location for that plant. We've also done 2 prescribed fires at Gator Hole Preserve in February, totaling 75 acres. This is to fulfill Gopher Tortoise relocation site requirements for that site. And we're trying to schedule some further prescribed fire at Telegraph Creek Preserve before it gets a little bit too dry and we go into a burn ban. We've also entered into a new cooperative effort with the USDA for conducting hog trapping on county preserves. They're currently trapping at 6 Mile Cypress Slough Preserve North. and they're beginning to do some reconnaissance at Wild Turkey Strand Preserve. For wildlife monitoring, an FWC permit for a new Gopher tourist relocation site at Bob Janes is being finalized to go before the BOCC for approval as a joint effort between Parks and Rec and the Department of Community Development. Coordinators are also performing several Gopher tourist burrow surveys at 6 Mile Cypress Slough Preserve North and Alva Scrub Preserve to prepare for heavy equipment restoration work. We've also observed federally threatened eastern indigo snake at Pine Island's Flatwood Preserve. We also have 2 pairs of federally endangered Everglades snail kites nesting at Powell Creek Preserve, and a new bald eagle nest has been documented at Estero Marsh Preserve.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. You've been busy.
Yes. No. I'm just saying, they've been very busy. Our coordinators are doing a great job, so.
Yeah, you have been busy. Any questions of staff?
Thank you for all that work. And bring it back to the committee. Are there any specific committee member items? If none, then we'll go back to our final public comment. Barbara, would?
Nothing.
Okay. Anyone else? Well, it said all, so I figured you wanted that. Anyone else? Holly? No? Okay. Okay, I guess we're done for tonight. We'll see you all on April 16th, and we're adjourned.